Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. Now, it's been a long run to the finish line in the 6th District congressional race, and both candidates are putting on a full-court press going into tomorrow's election. Republican incumbent Andy Barr brought in yet another high-profile supporter today. Donald Trump Jr. came to Kentucky, told a Mount Sterling crowd, "Let's not let the crazies take over Kentucky." Meanwhile, Democratic challenger Amy McGrath was making the rounds greeting voters and supporters at her field offices. And the New York Times did one final poll last night. Both candidates finished at 44% with 10% undecided. I don't understand how the 10% are undecided, to be honest with you, but 44-44. Now, Mary Jo, we've watched this race. We've covered it since Amy McGrath made her announcement. And it is probably a bellwether race for the country. These will be the first polls that close in America. And there are a lot of people that believe that if Amy McGrath wins, it means a huge night for Democrats. How do you think it's going to go?
Right. I agree with you there, because part of Andy Barr is not like this ogre that people are dying to get out of office. So if Amy McGrath comes back and wins, then yeah, they're saying we want to shift completely. We want to get control for the Democrats.
Yes.
She has run such a positive campaign, I believe, and such a about me and about the issues campaign, that it'll be interesting to see if that hurts her in the end, because Andy Barr has really taken shots after shot.
People say they want to not have negative campaigns, but the reality is negative campaigns often work.
Yes.
So I've seen polls from the start of this race to the end. In June, Amy McGrath had like a 10 or 12 point lead. And then Andy Barr started running negative ads. And that 10 or 12 point lead turned into a Barr lead of 1 or 2 points, solely based on the negative ads. As much as people hate negative ads, they work. So then she started running ads again, and then she sort of bounced back ahead by a little bit. I think she probably wins because they have a really good ground game. All right, so they beat Jim Gray in part by having a field office in every county, in part by having tons of volunteers. The amount of people they have out knocking on doors is crazy.
Yeah.
And so many more than Andy Barr. So the question is, does that stuff matter? I think we'll find out. I think we're also going to find out Andy Barr is a pretty likable guy. He's normal, but he's much more conservative than this district is. Well, does that matter? Does the fact that Donald Trump is president help or hurt him? I think there are a lot of questions, Mary Jo, we just don't know, and we won't know until the votes come in.
I know, and it's going to be close either way. It's not, you know, you saw the 244%. It's hard to believe someone is undecided and not leaning at least one way or the other. I mean, come on, they're too far apart.
I mean, they have been on our television screens nonstop for 2.5 months. What else do people need to know at this point? I'll say two things to just sort of end. Number one, I think if she wins, it's really impressive to beat a mayor that people like.
Yeah.
People like Jim Gray, and she beat him pretty handily. And then to beat Andy Barr, a person people kind of like. To win those would be really impressive. And I think second, if you're a Republican watching this, Andy Barr has to win. If you lose that race, you're in trouble, because there's another 40 races that are much better for Democrats. If Amy wins, that means they're in for a long night.
Yeah.
So what's your prediction?
I still think Andy Barr edges out a victory.
Right.
I do.
I think Amy edges out a victory. I do think, though, it's going to be very close. And that 7 to 8 tomorrow night is going to be really interesting.
Yes.